Heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway. Lin Yuan, come here for a second. Hearing the living Yama call for Lin Yuan, everyone's eyes instantly darted toward him. It seemed Lin Yuan was the unlucky victim of the day. Dong Nanfeng's anger was definitely going to be taken out on him. Lin Yuan, however, didn't expect this.
Zao zup ijo ainbu job in not
Get in here. But he wasn't afraid at all. It wasn't like he had offended the guy. He calmly stood up and followed Dong Nanfeng out. Dong Nanfeng walked into his office and signaled for Lin Yuan to close the door. Seeing Lin Yuan close the door, he finally motioned for him to sit down. Before he even said another word, Lin Yuan was already certain that 9 times out of 10, this bastard was targeting the old apartment design blueprints. He just couldn't quite understand why Dong Nanfeng had so much nerve. How dare he scheme against a design blueprint personally assigned by Shen Yuxi? You've made quite a splash right after joining the company. Your future is practically limitless. After saying that, Dong Nanfeng's tone turned serious. However, once a person steps into society, it's a whole different ballgame. At school, as long as you get good grades, even if you don't listen to the teachers, you can still smoothly get into a prestigious university. But society isn't like that. You have to pay attention to the right time, the right place, and the right people. The young man, Lin Yuan, didn't say a word. Dong Nanfeng continued, hold on. Actually, I think very highly of you. As long as you do a good job, setting everything else aside, you'll definitely be on the list for official employment this time. Not just as a regular employee, but your benefits could even get a little bump. Lin Yuan just smiled and looked at him. He just wondered what this so-called doing a good job actually entailed. Dong Nanfeng leaned forward. It's very simple. I just need you to tweak your design a bit. No need to change the drawings, just the materials. They need a little adjustment. Then go explain it to CEO Shen. That shouldn't be too hard, right? Lin Yuan looked at this old fox. He wanted him to swap out the current materials, and then conveniently use the batch of materials under Dong Nanfeng's control. The materials on that list. Impressive. Meanwhile, back in the office where Lin Yuan worked, everyone was frantically gossiping about Lin Yuan being dragged away by the living Yama. Dong Nanfeng had been a manager for 5 years and managed to buy an apartment in Ziyuan Hoding, just relying on his monthly salary of 18,000. Could he really save enough to buy an apartment in 5 years? Regarding Dong Nanfeng's embezzlement, everyone felt as disgusted as if they had swallowed a fly. But since they were at the bottom of the corporate ladder, they were angry but didn't dare speak up. However, even if they couldn't say it to his face, venting behind his back was still an option. Just as they were gossiping passionately, they suddenly heard a knock on the door. Following that, Si Qingqing, wearing a white blazer dress, gently walked in. She was holding a black umbrella in her hand. Excuse me, is Lin Yuan here? Everyone in the company knew who Si Qingqing was. Usually, she would just be passing by. But today, she was suddenly looking for someone. What was going on? First thing in the morning, the manager looks for Lin Yuan. Now CEO Shen is looking for Lin Yuan too. Assistant C. Lin Yuan was called away by manager Dong. Si Qingqing thanked them, turned around, and headed toward Dong Nanfeng's office. Dong Nanfeng's office was at the end of the design department. Just as Si Qingqing reached the door, she faintly heard the conversation inside. Manager Dong, sir, you're making this really difficult for me. The materials I proposed are already the most cost-effective ones. Besides, this apartment complex is old and rundown. If the residents there could afford high-end materials, they wouldn't be living there in the first place. What do you mean by that? They just can't afford to buy a new house. It doesn't mean they don't have money for renovations. From Dong Nanfeng's somewhat impatient tone, it wasn't hard to tell that he disagreed with Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan chuckled. What you're talking about is a high-end apartment complex. Aren't there also places that cost 20,000 a square meter? Perhaps you've never been to that area to take a look. The people living in that complex, Nuri Tubu IPP Keys Bug, No Suvi Napugi UID, and a small portion are young people striving to make a living. First of all, the elderly would absolutely never spend that much money on renovations. As for the young people hustling, as soon as they save up enough money, they will definitely move out. Those apartments are too small, completely unsuitable for getting married. This means that for them, economical and practical is still the best option. To be honest, forcing designers to swap materials was something Dong Nanfeng had done plenty of times. But normally, designers didn't need to explain this much. This Lin Yuan patiently explaining things to him for half the day. Even a block of dead wood would have understood by now. He was doing it on purpose. If Dong Nanfeng wasn't in desperate need of money lately, there was no way he would force Lin Yuan to change the materials. After all, this design had already been finalized by Shen Yuxi. It was just that his mother-in-law had been in a car accident a few days ago, and the medical bills alone had already cost over 100,000. This old housing renovation project was a massive one. The design commission for these two buildings could rake in over 100,000. So no matter what happened today, he had to make Lin Yuan change the materials. Lin Yuan was just relying on the fact that his design was outstanding. A newbie who had only been here for a month, daring to go against him. Dong Nanfeng said sarcastically, "I didn't expect designer Lin to have such a strong personality." Qing had originally just come to deliver the umbrella. Never expecting to overhear a conversation like this, she wanted to keep listening, but eavesdropping wasn't exactly a good look. She hurriedly knocked on the door. Hearing the knock, Manager Dong's face darkened as he looked toward the glass door. Seeing that it was CEO Shen's assistant, he quickly stood up, his expression turning incredibly enthusiastic. "Assistant Sai, what brings you here?" The expression on his face looked exactly like a disfavored concubine, seeing the emperor drop by for a visit. Qing smiled politely, her gaze shifting toward Lin Yuan, who was still sitting in his chair. Looking over, "CEO Shen told me to bring you an umbrella." After saying that, she added another sentence. "CEO Shen said that once you're done with your work, you should head over there. She has something to discuss with you." At this point, Dong Nanfeng was completely dumbfounded. He adjusted his glasses, looking at Qing in disbelief. And then at Lin Yuan. What in the world was going on? Why would CEO Shen send him an umbrella, and even tell him to come to her office after he finished his work? Whenever CEO Shen needed someone, wasn't it always? "Come to my office immediately." Yet she was letting this kid wait until he was done, the 5-year veteran employee expressed. This was the first time he had ever seen anyone get this kind of treatment. Lin Yuan took the umbrella. He smiled politely. Qing, having delivered her message, shot Dong Nanfeng another glance, before finally turning around and walking out. Looking at the umbrella in Lin Yuan's hand, Dong Nanfeng fell deep into thought. Sending documents or sending a bonus he could understand. But gifting an umbrella carries a very deep hidden meaning. A boss giving an umbrella to an employee, especially right after I pressured him to swap the materials. Dong Nanfeng suddenly felt a chill of fear. Right after I said that, CEO Shen sent this kid an umbrella. Is this her way of saying Hez under her protection? If that's really the case,
Aaron, I completely screwed.
The more Dong Nanfeng thought about it, the more terrified he became, breaking out in a cold sweat in the dead of winter. Rather than looking at Dong Nanfeng's fat face, Lin Yuan was much more curious about something else. What did the beautiful boss want with him? Don't tell me mom secretly drugged him again. If so, I need to go check on her right away. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan hurriedly stood up. "Manager Dong, we're done talking here. I have things to do, so I'll be taking my leave." After finishing up with Dong Nanfeng, Lin Yuan turned around and headed straight to Shen Yuxi's office. Today, Shen Yuxi was wearing a coffee-colored suit, paired with a matching silk dress underneath, and coffee-colored high heels. The first impression she gave off was pure elegance. Her long, glossy tea-colored hair was neatly pinned up with a gold hair clip. It softened the sharp, professional look of the suit, giving her an overall aura of luxury, mixed with a hint of languor. Calm, yet incredibly high class. When Qing entered the office, she was sitting in her chair, expressionless, watching the interactions in Lin Yuan's family group chat. A cold, aloof female CEO secretly lurking in her employees' family group chat. No one would believe it if they heard it. "CEO Shen, when I went to give Lin Yuan the umbrella, I happened to overhear Dong Nanfeng pressuring him to swap the materials." Hearing this, Shen Yuxi paused, the amusement in her eyes vanishing in an instant. "Swap the materials?" "Yes, exactly that." Shen Yuxi slowly leaned back in her chair. Her beautiful eyes darkened, her tone taking on a deeper meaning. "Is that so?" It was obvious she didn't know about Dong Nanfeng swapping materials to pocket the kickbacks, but looking at her expression, she didn't seem all that surprised either. In a company with thousands of employees, 50% are just coasting by to collect a paycheck, and 30% just put on a show of working hard. Only 15% actually put in real effort, and the remaining 5% are exactly like Dong Nanfeng, the kind who constantly extort others and abuse their positions for personal gain. Shen Yuxi understood this perfectly well. It was a common disease in every company, compared to Dong Nanfeng's behavior. Shen Yuxi was much more interested in Lin Yuan, this highly talented intern, who also happened to be her fake boyfriend. What was his choice?
What did he say?
Shen Yuxi set her phone down, a look of deep intrigue crossing her face. He just told Lin Yuan to swap the materials. I think he must have quite a few material suppliers backing him long-term. This kind of person should be fired. Hez a parasite to the company, the bad apple that spoils the bunch. Shen Yuxi cut her off, asking about Lin Yuan. Qing froze, the words catching in her throat. She obediently shut her half-open mouth, her wide eyes, staring at Shen Yuxi in sheer disbelief. At a time like this, CEO Shen, shouldn't you be decisively gathering evidence of Dong Nanfeng's crimes? Instead of asking what Dong Nanfeng said, you're asking about Lin Yuan. Aren't your priorities a bit mixed up? Thinking it was one thing, but she didn't dare say it out loud. Si Qingqing blinked. Lin Yuan hadn't said anything yet, before I got spotted, so I just came straight into the office, afraid Shen Yuxi would scold her for not hearing the whole thing. She guiltily added, but it looked like Lin Yuan wasn't willing to do it. Hearing this, Shen Yuxi seemed to get the answer she wanted, a fleeting smile appearing in her eyes. This was the third time he had surprised her. The first time was his design draft. Even the company's senior designers
Couldn't meet her standards.
Lin Yuan not only met them, but exceeded her expectations. The second time was when he refused the house she offered him. The number of people who could do that could be counted on one hand, but he actually did it. The third time was right now. A freshly graduated intern, daring to go against his superior's orders. Is he really not afraid of getting fired? Dong Nanfeng's embezzlement was within her expectations, but Lin Yuan's performance was completely unexpected. It seems this fake boyfriend of mine doesn't just have a good IQ, but solid character as well. A sudden knock on the door interrupted Shen Yuxi's thoughts. Lin Yuan walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee. Si Qingqing glanced lightly at Shen Yuxi, turned around, and walked out. CEO Shen, you were looking for me. Actually, Shen Yuxi had already come up with a strategy to deal with her mother's constant nagging about marriage. Calling Lin Yuan here today was precisely for this matter. Shen Yuxi's mother was no ordinary woman. The two of them had been battling wits for years, and there wasn't a trick they hadn't used. She looked at Lin Yuan, leaning forward slightly, her fair hands clasped together, and resting on the desk, her beautiful eyes were filled with absolute seriousness. Have a seat. Seeing her serious expression, Lin Yuan couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. My mother is very hard to deal with. She might drop by for a surprise inspection, so I need some of your personal belongings. I'll give you an allowance. Go buy some new daily necessities, and bring them over to my place when you have time. Her tone was completely devoid of emotion, sounding just like she was assigning a work task, but a stray lock of hair falling across her forehead made her look noticeably softer. The beautiful morning sunlight was shining down on her delicate, fair face. From this angle, Lin Yuan could clearly see his own reflection in her stunning eyes. There was no denying it. When this woman was serious, looking right at him, Lin Yuan unconsciously felt his heart skip a beat. After finishing their talk, Lin Yuan smiled and walked out. Back in the office, everyone was dying to know if Lin Yuan was still alive. First, it was Dong Nanfeng. Then, it was CEO Shen. Neither of those two were people to be trifled with. The gossip had just died down when they saw Lin Yuan with coffee in his left hand and an umbrella in his right, strolling in as calm as could be. Brother Yuan, what did CEO Shen want with you? Giving you an umbrella? What does that mean? Even though he couldn't figure it out himself, his intuition told him this umbrella wasn't simple. It rained yesterday, so I lent this umbrella to CEO Shen. She was just returning it today. The moment he said that, Xia Q breathed a sigh of relief. So that Fire Yama didn't force you to swap the materials. Only an idiot would swap them. I didn't do it, Lin Yuan said without hesitation. Xia Chu didn't expect this kid to be so stubborn. So Fire Yama didn't give you a hard time. Lin Yuan shook the coffee cup in his hand. Does this look like he gave me a hard time? Saying that, he tossed a cup to Xia Qiu.
This one's for you.
I still prefer drinking tea. Looking at the coffee in his hand. Holy crap, isn't that guy a total cheapskate? He actually gave this to you. Life really is that unbelievable. Xia Qiu was completely bewildered. The entire office was bewildered. What the hell was going on here? Old Yuan, who had been here for 3 years, noted that getting food out of Dong Nanfeng was a first. What was up with today? It was so bizarre, it was unbelievable. He didn't believe Dong Nanfeng would let Lin Yuan off the hook so easily, and even give him coffee on top of it. There was absolutely no way it was that simple. Lin Yuan also didn't expect his colleagues to be this nosy. He let out a sigh, looking at everyone with a helpless expression. Since you guys are all so curious, I'll just lay my cards on the table. To tell you the truth, CEO Shen is actually my girlfriend.
What?
You don't just dare to dream.
You actually dare to say it out loud.
Xia Q was the first one who couldn't hold back. CEO Shen was basically a goddess. In the company, outside of work, she never gave any man a second glance. A total newbie actually dared to claim CEO Shen was his girlfriend. Even a 5-year veteran wouldn't have the guts for that. Don't let anyone else hear you say that. If word gets to CEO Shen, she might literally sew your mouth shut. Not joking. Hez, dead serious. Who is CEO Shen? Shez, an ice-cold demon boss. Someone that ruthless. If she found out Lin Yuan was making jokes about her behind her back, she really might sew his mouth shut. After gossiping in the office for half the day, it was suddenly 11:59. Just one more minute until they could hit the cafeteria for lunch. Quitting time. In the family group chat, Lin Yuan's sister Lin Kike tagged him again, showing off her lunch photo. A bowl of beef noodles, a chicken wing, and a cup of yogurt on the side. Lin Yuan could feel the sheer cluelessness radiating from his sister's photo.
Eating that much while recovering.
Careful. You're gonna get fat if you talk like that. Would my sister-in-law agree? Saying that, she immediately tagged Shen Yuxi. Lin Yuan was speechless. How does Shen Yuxi get dragged into absolutely everything? Shen Yuxi hadn't even said anything yet, but Mom immediately chimed in.
What are you two having for lunch?
Mom, we just got off work. We haven't even made it to the cafeteria yet. All right. Once you get to the cafeteria, send me a picture of your lunch. She had to make sure her precious daughter-in-law was eating well. If not, she'd have to start cooking for her. Lin Yuan wanted to slap himself in the face. Why didn't I just say I was too busy to eat lunch? Now look what happened! Damn it. Is she the type of person who eats at the cafeteria? I really didn't think this through. Lin Yuan sent Shen Yuxi a message. CEO Shen. How about I treat you to lunch? Shen Yuxi was actually secretly peeking at the chat, just waiting for Lin Yuan to come looking for her. Seeing his message pop up, a smug look uncontrollably appeared on her delicate face. Beautiful CEO. Lin Yuan knew it wouldn't be that simple. The demoness was starting to act up again. CEO Shen, I'm begging you. Looking at the message Lin Yuan sent, an image unconsciously popped into Shen Yuxi's head. The image of Lin Yuan sincerely begging for mercy in front of her. Kid, aren't you supposed to be so capable? Come to my office and learn some manners. As for Si Qingqing, she had already laid out the food on the coffee table in the office. Seeing Shen Yuxi looking at her phone, she spoke up cautiously. CEO Shen, your lunch is ready. Shen Yuxi replied without looking up. Get another portion of food. Si Qingqing stood frozen in place. She thought she had misheard. CEO Shen has been acting way too abnormal since last night. Normally, she only eats half a portion. Today, she wants 2 portions. Right at that moment, Dong Nanfeng knocked on the door. Come in. Shen Yuxi crossed her arms and glanced at Dong Nanfeng. Not doing your design work. Not making things difficult for the designers. What do you want with me? The iceberg spoke. Dong Nanfeng felt the temperature drop by 10 degrees. He was both freezing and panicking, so terrified that his palms and forehead were dripping with cold sweat. CEO Shen, I'm so sorry. My mother-in-law is severely ill. I really had no other choice, which is why I came up with the idea to swap the materials. I won't ever dare do it again. Want dare do it again. You already did it, and you say you won't dare. Swapping materials without discussing it with the homeowner, and going to the designer instead. Have you ever thought about what would happen? If the homeowner decided to change the entire design, her voice felt like it carried countless invisible swords, all aimed straight at Dong Nanfeng. Dong Nanfeng was so scared he almost stopped breathing. His legs couldn't stop shaking. CEO Shen, I'm sorry. I really won't dare do it again. I truly know I was wrong. Shen Yuxi gave a faint smile. Her pleasant, authoritative voice echoed through the office. I never accept apologies. If you make a mistake, you pay the price. If I forgive 1 Dong Nanfeng today, 10 more Dong Nanfengs will appear tomorrow. Dong Nanfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. His mind was buzzing loudly. It was over. He had elderly parents to care for and young kids to raise. Now his mother-in-law was in the hospital. His kids were about to start middle school. He needed money for absolutely everything. He was the sole breadwinner for the entire family. Losing his job meant his whole family would be out on the streets starving. Shen Yuxi was about to say something else when she felt her phone vibrate. Normally, whatever Shen Yuxi was about to say, she would have completely cleaned out this bad apple first. But now with Lin Yuan's family group chat, she suddenly felt their messages were very important too. She picked up her phone and immediately saw Lin Yuan's message. Her slender fingers danced across the screen. Don't call me CEO Shen anymore. It won't be good if you get too used to it. Lin Yuan was stunned. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. Then I'll call you Xiaoqi like they do from now on. Xiaoqi, it's time to eat. Shen Yuxi sat at her desk. Her beautiful almond eyes were glued intently to her phone screen. After a long moment, her lips curled up slightly. Her red lips showed a slightly unnatural expression. Xiaoqi compared to CEO Shen, the former felt official. The latter felt distant. Everyone in the family group chat were elders. It was natural for them to call her that, but she was 4 years older than Lin Yuan. Shouldn't he be calling her sister? Lin Yuan immediately reacted. Then I'll call you Sister Qi from now on. Dong Nanfeng was still standing in front of the desk, sincerely apologizing. Right now, he looked just like a criminal waiting for his sentence. Is it life or death? You have to say something at least. Yet this CEO Shen simply refused to speak. Not only did she not speak, she just casually kept looking at her phone. He stared intently at Shen Yuxi. Not even daring to breathe too loudly, Shen Yuxi looked at the message Lin Yuan sent, a faint smile appearing on the corners of her mouth. A smile like a blooming lily, pure and beautiful. Dong Nanfeng had never seen CEO Shen smile so purely before. It was truly beautiful. It's just that right now, His mind was full of his own dirty deeds. He was so scared his soul was about to leave his body. Shen Yuxi stretched her legs out, leaning back in her chair. She found a relaxed posture and continued chatting with Lin Yuan, completely ignoring the trembling Dong Nanfeng across from her. What does Sister Chi want to eat?
You picked the place ill pay.
No need. Just come eat at my office. Little Sai already went to buy food for you. What an understanding big sister. Replying to Shen Yuki's message, Lin Yuan decisively left the office and headed toward the elevator. Just as he reached the door to Shen Yuki's office, he heard a cold voice coming from inside. Pack up your things and get out. Dong Nanfeng really didn't want to leave this job. Whether it was the benefits or the work environment, both were considered top tier if he left this place. He was afraid it would be very hard to find another job like it. CEO Shen Yuki leaned back in her chair, too lazy to care about him anymore. She coldly threw out one last sentence. Dong Nanfeng originally wanted to beg, but remembering Shen Yuxi's gaze just now, that cold and dangerous look, he ultimately didn't dare open his mouth. He just let out a heavy sigh and quietly walked out. As soon as he stepped out, he saw Lin Yuan standing at the door. Lin Yuan looked at his retreating back, suddenly feeling a bit of pity for him. But there was no other way.
Wrong is wrong.
No matter the reason, it's no excuse for his embezzlement. In Lin Yuan's eyes, there was nothing to pity about a guy like that leaving. But then again, this big sister is seriously ruthless. Up until now, it's only been 2 hours, and the guy is already fired. Lin Yuan took a deep breath. Looks like I'm safe. It's best not to mess with her. Seeing Lin Yuan approach, the sharp glint in Shen Yuxi's eyes instantly vanished, replaced by a beautiful, soft starlight. She pointed at the dishes already laid out on the coffee table. The rice will be here in a bit. Wait a moment. Lin Yuan nodded. After speaking, he finally looked at the coffee table and immediately froze. Vegetable salad, smashed cucumbers, stir-fried greens, and sweet and sour lotus roots. There were quite a few dishes, but not a single piece of meat or fish. How is anyone supposed to eat this? Seeing Lin Yuan dazed, Shen Yuxi asked, "What's wrong?" "Not to your taste." "It's not just about taste. I literally don't even know where to start." Right now, he just wanted to ask one thing, big sister. Since when did you become a Buddhist monk? Does a meal like this match your tens of millions in net worth? Lunch is great, but let's not do this next time. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and sat down at the coffee table. Shen Yuxian was taken aback.
It's great, so why?
Let's not do this next time. Regarding what Lin Yuan just blurted out, she was completely clueless. Just as she was feeling annoyed, a knock came from the door. Seeing Shen had returned with the rice, she walked in, instinctively glancing at the coffee table.